Is cancel culture real? And who can say the N-word? And I'm not talking about the word Neogamist. Real word, look it up. And also, former President Trump breaks his silence about the late Rush Limbaugh. Hey guys, my name is Jason Wesley, and this is not a podcast. Now, before we really get into this episode, I want to first send my condolences to the family and friends of conservative talk radio show host Rush Limbaugh, who has passed away this last week at the age of 70 after battling lung cancer. I've personally listened to Rush since the early 2000s, along with 27 million other regular listeners. Rush Limbaugh would call out the media, and he would also explain what it meant to be a conservative despite what leftists portray conservatives as, being racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobes who only want to cling to their God and their guns.
We conservatives have not done a good enough job of just laying out basically who we are because we make the mistake of assuming that people know. Well, what they know is largely incorrect based on the way we are portrayed in pop culture, in the drive-by media, by the Democrat Party. Let me tell you who we conservatives are. We love people. When we look out over the United States of America, when we are anywhere, when we see a group of people such as this or anywhere, we see Americans, we see human beings. We don't see groups, we don't see victims, we don't see people we want to exploit. What we see is potential. We do not look out across the country and see the average American, the person that makes this country work. We do not see that person with contempt. We don't think that person doesn't have what it takes. We believe that person can be the best he or she wants to be if certain things are just removed from their path, like onerous taxes, regulations, and too much government.
The FCC, following the Reagan administration priorities of cutting back government and promoting free speech, ended the long-standing requirement for television and radio stations to devote an equal amount of time to each side of a political issue. Impressed by his ratings, the ABC radio network hired Rush Limbaugh and brought him to New York City to launch a nationally syndicated show. The Rush Limbaugh Show debuted on August 1st, 1988. Most people that ridiculed him never really listened to him. They only listened to sound bites they hated because he would call out the leftist ideology. He was a voice when conservatism didn't even have a voice in media, and everything from podcasts that you listen to today to talk radio was pioneered by Rush Limbaugh. He was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom at the last State of the Union address by President Trump.
I am proud to announce tonight that you will be receiving our country's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Here's what former President Trump had to say about Mr. Limbaugh.
So great. So then over a period of time, I got to know him, and he loved this country. He loved the country. He loved his wife and his family, and he loved his fans, his audience, which was, I think, maybe the biggest ever. There's never been anything like it. You know, when Sean says irreplaceable, he really means it too. He's irreplaceable.
Well, immediately after the news of Rush Limbaugh's death started to spread, the loving, tolerant, unifying left sent their condolences, remembering Rush Limbaugh, heaven's gain to some, new radio show in hell to others. Twitter allows rotten hell and good riddance to trend with Rush Limbaugh. Bette Midler tweeted, Rush Limbaugh has gone to his reward. Bet it's hot. This is the same woman that tweeted a picture of a crowd behind former President Trump. Look, there are African-American men in this shot. How much did he pay him to be in the background? As if black men needed to be bribed and can't think for themselves. Dan Savage tweeted, not the obituary I wanted to read today, but we're getting warmer. Cenk Uygur with the Young Turks tweeted, the idea that you say artificially nice things about people after they die is weird. I've never understood the logic of it. Rush Limbaugh was a terrible person while he was alive. He made a living by attacking the powerless. His death does not in any way change or redeem that. I wouldn't say that I was happy when Rush Limbaugh died. It's more like euphoria. These are the same leftists and media that said Ayatollah Khomeini was an unwavering Iranian spiritual leader. It's the same leftist propagandists that called an actual terrorist an austere religious scholar. Do you remember the response from President Trump when he found out Ruth Bader Ginsburg died?
She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. Actually saddened to hear that. I am saddened to hear that.
And even before she died, when Bill O'Reilly asked him about RBG's replacement when she was just sick and in the hospital, President Trump said this.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not in good health. Do you have someone you're going to appoint you want to announce today?
No, I don't think about that. I hope she's healthy.
Okay.
Attacking and canceling isn't necessarily a new thing. They've tried to attack and cancel Rush Limbaugh for decades. And speaking of canceling, I'm not even going to get into the Bachelor situation right now, but Gina Carano, not to be confused with Gina Rodriguez, is the next one in a long list of people to be canceled. But if you ask the left, they're going to tell you that cancel culture doesn't even exist. I guess hookup culture doesn't exist either. But if you do confuse the two Ginas, Gina Rodriguez, best known for Jane the Virgin.
Okay, if you get a chance, don't forget to watch Jane the Virgin.
Yes!
Was the one canceled for using the N-word while rapping along to a Lauryn Hill song in her Insta story.
Do what you do, believe me. Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
Then later came out with an apology saying she was deeply sorry. So who can say the N-word? Apparently Puerto Ricans can't.
Unspoken standard of blackness where there's people that are allowed to get away with it. Fat Joe, he couldn't say it. J-Lo, girl.
What about white people? Madonna learned that lesson when she used the N-word on her Instagram. I'm sorry if I offended anyone with my use of the N-word on Instagram. It was not meant as a racial slur. I am not a racist. There's no way to defend the use of the word. It was all about intention. It was used as a term of endearment toward my son, who is white. I appreciate that it's a provocative word, and I apologize if it gave people the wrong impression. Forgive me. The apology comes after Madonna posted a snapshot of her 13-year-old son along with the comment, "No one messes with dirty soap. Mama said knock you out," along with the hashtag Disney. Using a variation of the N-word, she quickly deleted the post and labeled those criticizing her use of the N-word as haters. Guess it's okay if you're Mexican though.
So all you niggas, whites and brown, jeaners, tacuaches. See, I'm Mexican, I can say what's up, nigga. ¿Qué pasa, güey? ¿Qué pasa, vato?
Pop these niggas like a willy nigga, you a silly nigga.
But back to the Mandalorian's Gina Carano being fired. Now what did she do? Did she say the N-word? No. According to the leftist publication Huffington Post, the announcement comes after the actor and former MMA star shared a series of inflammatory messages, including one Tuesday comparing the current political climate in the United States to Nazi Germany. Notice they didn't actually quote her tweet, they just told you what the spin was. But what did she actually tweet? Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. In another post, Carano shared a photo of a person wearing multiple cloth masks with the caption, "Meanwhile in California." I guess I could be canceled too because I posted a picture of Dr. Fauci wearing a box of masks. The hashtag #FireGina Carano began circulating on Twitter Wednesday in response to her post. Many users tagged Lucasfilm and corporate parent Disney in their posts. UTA has also dropped the actor, who will no longer be a part of the Star Wars galaxy. So if you compare people in a political climate to Nazi Germany and it's inflammatory on your personal social media, that's grounds for being fired. Well, what if you ran with a story saying Trump is Hitler on the cover of the Daily News? What if you dressed up as the leader of the Nazis like Sarah Silverman did to go on a show comparing Trump to Hitler?
So my understanding is you want to clear the air because you think you're being unfavorably compared to Donald Trump.
Don't get me wrong, Conan. I agree with a lot he says, a lot.
Now I know what you're thinking. It appears as if Democrats and leftist media types are being hypocritical and living by a totally separate set of rules that everyone else does that doesn't fall in line with their intolerant way of thinking. And you'd be correct. Remember when Meryl Streep and most of Hollywood gave a standing ovation to Roman Polanski after knowing that he raped a 13-year-old girl?
Goes to Roman Polanski for the pianist.
Now, why couldn't Roman Polanski be there to actually accept the award? Because he left the country. Then in January 2015, the United States have asked Poland to extradite filmmaker Roman Polanski, who pleaded guilty in 1977 to raping a 13-year-old girl, but left the country before sentencing. Remember when former President Obama's campaign manager in 2012 said how he used Facebook technology to gather data to win the 2012 election?
We built this thing called targeted sharing that took a year and way too much money, but it allowed us to use Facebook to persuade people. We spent $1 billion to figure out a simple truth. What your friends and family and neighbors say is more important to your consumer decisions and your political decisions than anything else, because you're getting so much data thrown at you.
But when President Trump used it in 2016, the left made an entire 2.5-hour documentary called The Great Hack about whether gathering data via Facebook helped Donald Trump win the election. But we are fighting back peacefully and patriotically, because within 24 hours of Gina Carano being canceled, she had a movie deal with Daily Wire in partnership with Bonfire Legend, the same production company that did Run, Hide, Fight, Bone Tomahawk starring Kurt Russell, and Dragged Across Concrete with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. The media headlines picked up the story and ran with it immediately. Vanity Fair, Gina Carano strikes back after Star Wars implosion. After Mandalorian exit, Gina Carano vows to fight cancel culture with new film deal. Deadline, Gina Carano hits back, announces new movie project with Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. They can't cancel us if we don't let them. Now, Gina's not the only one fighting back. Former President Trump has also been acquitted for the second impeachment attempt by the Democrats for incitement of insurrection because he used words like fight like hell in his speech.
And he still gave that marching orders to go to the Capitol and, quote, fight like hell and stop the steal.
Now, Maxine Waters says that Trump should be charged with premeditated murder.
He absolutely should be charged with premeditated murder because of the lives that were lost with this invasion.
Now, here's a few sound bites of Democrats using the exact same charged language.
The American people are going to have to fight. And about the importance of fighting, I will always fight, but we always must fight. We cannot ever give up fighting.
Our mission is to fight. That is the guiding purpose of House Democrats, fighting. But this is a fight for our country.
And above all, it's time for America to get back up and once again fight.
I am going to wake up every day and fight hard. I have been fighting. We're going to fight. We are going to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. And I will fight.
We're in the fight of our lives right now.
We fight like hell.
Then whenever Democrats were accused of doctoring evidence in the impeachment trial, they didn't refute it. And when it was brought up with former President Trump's attorney in an interview, he reprimanded her for downplaying it.
I can't believe you would ask me a question indicating that it's all right just to doctor a little bit of evidence.
Ilhan Omar used similar language when she tweeted April of 2020. For those of you who plan to sit this election out or vote for Trump, just stop. The livelihoods of millions of marginalized people are at stake. We must all fight like hell to get Donald Trump out of the White House and end the rise of fascism in this country. Now, one of the rare times I actually agree with former President Barack Obama is when he said this about being woke.
There is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people. And that's enough. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself. Because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out. You know, that's not activism.
Maybe Democrats pushing impeachment is the way to heal and unify. I mean, I'm still looking for the healing and unifying, but maybe it'll come with the more than 25,000 undocumented immigrants that the Biden administration is allowing into the interior of the United States. But asylum seekers don't seem very unified or happy about it. But the sudden surge of migrants crossing the border illegally to take advantage of the opportunity to stay in the United States has left those who have spent months waiting in Mexican border camps feeling disrespected and betrayed. And speaking of being disrespected and betrayed, President Biden has yet to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and White House Press Secretary Circleback Psaki doesn't know whether Israel or Saudi Arabia are still allies of the United States. Now, I'm going to leave you with this final piece from the late, the great Rush Limbaugh, who had his talent on loan from God that he can now turn back over.
My point in all of this today is gratitude. My point in everything today that I've shared with you about this is to say thanks and to tell everybody involved how much I love you from the bottom of a sizable and growing and still beating heart. And there's room for much more. All because I've learned what love really is during this. You know, I have a philosophy. There's good that happens in everything. It may not reveal itself immediately. And even in the most dire circumstances, if you just wait, if you just remain open to things, the good in it will reveal itself. But I don't believe our darkest days are ahead of us. I never have. Like people have been asking, you've always told us it'd be time to panic. It's never time to panic, folks. There's never, ever going to be time
to give up on our country. It'll never be time to give up on the United States. It'll never be time to give up on yourself. Trust me.